Hey, stay Steve, please like and subscribe. Please click on the Deck Heroes icon. Click on subscribe. It's 100% free. Blood in, blood out. And also don't forget to click on the notifications just so you don't miss out on any amazing content. This is a video, honestly, it perplexes me. How any black person, and I know there's not many, thank goodness. I know there's not many, but how any black person can be pro-Trump, because Trump represents oppression. And this guy here, as well as myself, son of slaves. That's in our history. It wasn't all that long ago. Let's hear the logic of this individual here. And to be honest, Godfrey, the way that you handle this whole debate, and trying to make you a comedian, I guess I could let you off with that, but the route you were going down was dangerous, trying to do this kind of patronizing Indian accent, you know what I mean? I know you're trying to be funny, but it's just, listen, this is it's twattish. It's twatty. Anyway, let's go.
You're neutral about this whole thing, right?
I'm not necessarily saying put my fist in the air for Trump,
right.
Although people are getting on my nerves to the point where, like, they're trying to bully me towards Kamala, to where they're going to make me
That's the stupidest thing. Let's just get this right. I'm going to give an example just after this, right? My own example. But say if somebody was bullying you not to put your head in the noose of the hangman, going back to old school parlance. Please don't put your head in the noose. Listen, if you keep bullying me, my head's going to go in. My head's going to go in. It's like, you stupid idiot. It's a white supremacist. He's a white supremacist. It really is as simple as that. There's other points I can make. I've made so sleep. But you are an idiot, Lord Jamar. My gosh.
just out of life.
That's not
You know what I mean?
That's not your style anyway.
Listen.
To be reactional.
Well, I'm not trying to be reactional, but when you think about this, when you think about, if you have a beef, right?
Yeah.
If I got a beef with a group of people,
My enemy.
nigga, do I want a man leading us or a woman? Like,
Right.
like just as simple as that.
Case closed. Case closed. Lord Jamar, you are one of the biggest fools. You're one of the biggest fools. Or maybe it's just clickbait. Maybe you're just trying to get attention. You're just trying to be contrary. I don't know. But you're a disgrace. You are a disgrace. All right, just to flesh this out, it's not going to be too long, but I've got an example now. And I keep thinking back to this kind of fable of there was one black person back in the days of the KKK. There was one black member of the. Oh, there was a film about it, right? I'm sure there's a film about it. Lord Jamar, man. Oh, gosh. Lord Jamar, you're not a lord of anything, my friend. You're Lord Jamjaw. You're the 2024 version of the person who joins the KKK. There's a blatant stand by and stand back and stand by and whatever it was for the Proud Boys. You are that person, despite all the flags, and every black person is a minority hire. Obama is not really American. All the Africans are kind of diluting. So the migrants are diluting the bloodline. All the African countries are like, was it shithole nations? And there's black jobs, and there's just more and more and more. And blacks can't live in his developments, and try to cut funding for, is it HBCUs? But no. I want to go for the person who's making all that happen. I want to go for the white supremacist. Bizarre. I've got a little scenario. Just thinking, for an undecided black voter, I've got a scenario, right? So there's a job, and I want to have the scenario where we're building the climate, the economic climate of white supremacy being tolerant. You know what I mean? Being more normalized, and more kind of division, which in brackets is racial intolerance. You know what I mean? So if you let's just leave it at that. Let's leave it at that. Well, we'll start off the basics. There's one job and there's two candidates. There's us in the black, and there's a person, not a white person, what, somebody without color. The hiring manager is a white supremacist. Who's going to get the job? Right? It's not a trick question. Who's going to get the job? The black person or the non-black person? Who's going to get the job? It's a white supremacist choosing. Right. Who's more likely to get the job? Same scenario, but there's somebody who's sympathetic to the extreme far right, where the white supremacist kind of ideology resides. Who's likely to get the job? The black person or the non-black person? Got another scenario. The hiring manager is actually completely neutral in their own regard, in their own political ideology. Still got the black person and the non-black person. But the team that you're trying to employ to, the partnering manager in a different team, he's a white supremacist. Right, so I'm going about the culture where this kind of white supremacy is not challenged and it's actually encouraged, and we allow the repealing of the civil rights legislation, the equality legislation to go ahead, which is what definitely and explicitly this Republican Party is trying to do, right? So again, black person, which is I'm black person, I'm a person of color, I'm mixed race, right? Us. And there's a non-black person. The hiring manager is actually neutral, but the manager that you'd be working with is a white supremacist. That hiring manager, who are they going to choose, knowing that really, in order for the business to do well, you need to be able to work with that other problem manager in this culture of the tolerance towards white supremacy? Who's going to get the job? The person of color or the person who is not of color? Not a trick question. Okay, and you can just keep on going down that route. The short story is, do your opportunities become restricted the more that you, as much as anybody else, supports the culture of division and this white supremacist who said all the things I said earlier about diluting the bloodline, and was it if all migrants are criminals? Now, you might not see yourself as a migrant, and of course you're not. You invested in America since day one. But that person, how did he view Obama? How did he view him? Did he see him as a migrant? Is that the game that he was trying to play? What black jobs is he thinking about? The job that this person in the imaginary scenario, is that a black job in that white supremacist's mind? Or is it something way more menial? Say if that job required, we go back to that hiring manager being a white supremacist now. Say if that job required you to do 10 things for that interview, and that non-black person also has to do exactly the same 10 things. They get exactly the same time. Who is going to get that job? So, you go there, you answer your interview questions, you do that preparation. Who's going to get that job? Those 10 questions are in your specialist subject, and it just so happened you were revising those things the night before. It's fresh in your mind. You write everything down. You've done all your research. You've nailed that interview. And there's a non-white person there. Who is likely to get that job? Exactly the same. The hiring manager is a white supremacist. Use yours. Not a trick question. Does it just depend on the strength of the interview, or by definition that there's a white supremacist or a culture where white supremacist mentality and an ethos is allowed to fester? Who gets that job? Who should you be voting for? Where should your energy be flaming jam jar, and everybody else who's somehow confused when you've got one choice, are somehow confused about what choice to make. It honestly, it's embarrassing. It's one of the most embarrassing videos I've ever had to make in my life, to point out the obvious. How lost are we? How lost are we, or anybody else who's got this confusion? And I know some people are bought into this authoritarianism. That authoritarian idyllic future that you want, again, in that example I just put forwards, if you don't feature in your own future, what does that say about your mentality or your naivete? When when these things happen and the momentum goes in the wrong direction, will you blame yourself if you did nothing to stop it? Because once it starts, there's a lot of pain. Let's hope it's just pain and not bloodshed. And it would be our blood, because we are in the weaker position before it ends. And I'm not talking about immediately, but the lesson of history is you do not open the door to evil. And sure, I can't believe how people can't see how people on the extreme right wing through the history of throughout the world history, that's not where we want to be. And that's exactly what you're going to try and support going. You were the first one on the chopping block, or we are the first one on the chopping block, and then it's everybody else who lives in oppression. But at least they'd be alive. We're restricting our own opportunities, and there's nobody's going to be fighting for us. And to be fair, we would not have even fought for ourselves. Let's think about it, please, people. I'm not even in America, so I can just observe. I say we in the UK, we went through our own kind of trial of stupidity with Brexit, and now we are suffering, and our standard of living has gone down, and people are really struggling, and we can't climb out. I say I've got a master's in economics and a degree in psychology, and things will never be better. There's a imbalance of power, which can be righted. And to be honest, I think we'd have to go through a lot more pain before people, the stupid people who would never admit that they're wrong as well. A similar situation to what may well kind of pan out on the other side of the pond. Let's hope not, in my point of view. There's a saying, what you don't learn, you feel, and I just hope things go as well as possible for America. You have honestly, my best regard. That's the only reason why I'm doing this. I'm not trying to sway anybody who's made up their mind. And listen, I'm happy. Whatever decision people want to make, I'm happy with that. And I'm not trying to make enemies and whatever. Just pointing out my thoughts, and we'll either agree or disagree in the nicest possible way. Please like, subscribe. That's Steve, and I am out.